Okay, here we are in Photoshop, and we're going to work on this lovely photo that's entitled now called Monk in the Garden. How's that? Seems to be apropos, doesn't it? That monk in the garden. Let's start. We're in Photoshop, as you can see at the very top, Photoshop CC 2018. So if you're not, open it up and download the photo the 2018 Photoshop. Let's begin and go through a quick couple of checks. We have our layers palette open, we have our tools, and we have our history. That's what we need to have right now, those three items. Let's come down over here to layers, and we're going to replicate this icon, which is this image. And the way to do that is simply Command J, and we have a copy. And the reason we're making a copy is because that's what we're going to work in. This is going to be the original master. So if we make a mess out of this one, we can always go back to the original master that will not have been touched by our editing at all. So we're in here and we're ready to go. So let's start by opening our filter to Adobe Camera Raw. And you see we have all of our tools right here. And we're going to make some alterations to this that are going to be pretty radical. Maybe not so radical, but rather interesting, I think. So let's start with, the color is fine. We're not going to go black and white, and we don't need to go to browse. We'll talk about that later. Our white balance as shot, that's good. We can go to auto and see that changes a little bit. So we'll leave it with auto. Custom allows us to make changes with our sliders, but we're going to go to auto just to make life easy, because this exercise today is about working with brush and radial filters, and we'll get right into them. But I want to start with lowering the exposure in this. We want to move this from a bright scene to a much darker scene like this. Then we'll make some changes along the way. Contrast up a little bit, highlights down, shadows up a little, whites, hold it, Alt key and move it up till we see the whites of the coming onto the screen and the blacks about the same way, and a little bit of clarity, little vibrance, little saturation. Those are enough to get us going here. Image looks pretty nice already. Let's move up shadows a little bit and see what happens. See? Shadows takes care of those midtones. We're going to take lights down. Okay, let's come all the way over here to the top of our toolbar. We're going to go with the radial filter. And we're going to put it on the center of our monk and pull it down to open it up. And there it is. And come over to exposure now in our tools, and let's brighten up the monk. There we go. I like that. Good. Yeah, maybe a little too bright. Let's bring it down a little bit. Good. Let's go to our brushes, which is the next third tool over. And exposure's up a little bit. Shadows up a little bit. Clarity up a little bit. Saturation up a little bit. And what we're going to begin to do is to brush lights back into the image. So you use this just like you would a paintbrush. You paint it on. We haven't changed anything. We're still in our brush and with these settings. I like that. Let's go back over here to the radial. We're going to click on radial because I want to make the face a little bit brighter. We could have done it with a brush. I kind of like it this way. Oh, we're up a little bit, 0.25 on our temperature, so we're into the yellows a little bit to warm it up. And our tint, a little bit there. Let's stay in the radial filter, grab new, and we're just going to kind of play with it a little bit. See how I move it around? No rhyme or reason, just where it suits me. There we go. Let's come back up in here. See the dot in the center? That's the dot for the circle. That indicates where our brush was. I want to take the yellow down a little bit So hit the dot, click on the dot until it activates, till it turns green. That means it's active. And we can bring the exposure down, or we can bring the coloration down a little bit, or the saturation. There we go. I'm going to hit new again. I see a couple of spots I'd like to work on. Put a little light in the forest. Good. Now, while we're here, let's go to brush, new. We've got that. We're going to bring this down. We're going to work on this area up in here. We're just going to brush that down a little bit. Okay. Go into the negative numbers. We're at minus 1.05. We can still bring it down a little bit more. I like it. Looks good. What's the rest of it look like? Let's go back into the elliptical. Bring up the exposure a little bit. There we go. I like what we have here. All right. So we're in Camera Raw. We've worked our tools here. Let's click OK, and we're going to flip over into Photoshop. That was just the original we were seeing, so here's our edited copy. Let's do a crop on this too. We're going to hit our crop tool. Oop. Come on, crop tool. There we go. And what I've done is come up here to the very top. I've used in our choice of sizes, I'm using 5 by 7. That's the ratio of 5 by 7. And that's a good standard photo size. We can enlarge this a little bit like that. And what I like about this is that the monk is placed in the crosshairs, not in the center. So that gives him a feeling that he's looking this way, looking down the picture. I like the picture. Click OK. There's the original. And here comes the edited. That's the edited. So if you like all this, we've got it finished. So this will go up on YouTube. You give it a try, and let's see how we do. Remember, we've only used, let me go back to filter. We've only used basically the radial filter up here, the brush over here, and our sliders in our toolbox, our toolbar here. So a real nice exercise in brushing and colorization and brightness. Good luck with it. Let me know.